This is part 2 of a 2-part Bravo Weekly News episode. After this short intro announcement, enjoy! Before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to say for everyone that there have been some changes to my Patreon. It became a lot and too overwhelming for me to be doing the Patreon episodes right now. I just have a lot going on in life and needed to save my mental health. So I'm taking a step back for now. I am still offering a Patreon subscription. It is like less expensive, $3 a month, and you can get all the Bravo News episodes ad-free. And when I do choose to do bonus content, it'll be up there for anybody who's subscribing. So if you'd like to just support me over there, you absolutely can. Or if you just want the episodes ad-free, it's a great way to, avoid the ads and support me as a creator. So it's patreon.com/Bravo and Botox, but there will not be the bonus episodes like every week like there were before, which is why, I adjusted it, changed the price, and have spoken and sent out a message to all my Patreon subscribers over the years. And I just wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to them again for being just the best, for supporting, for, putting your hard-earned money to that, and for engaging with me and, discussing Bravo with me on Patreon over these years. Those interactions and all that stuff will definitely be missed. And please, keep commenting on the ad-free news episodes so we can still chat about Bravo. Okay, everyone, enjoy part 2 of today's episode. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. All right, so let's get into some Southern hospitality news, because I think that was one of the biggest pieces of news over this holiday break is that Southern hospitality star Grace Lilly was arrested after cops found, quote, happy pills in her car. Okay, wow. So the 27-year-old was arrested by the Charleston Police Department and booked at the Charleston County Jail at 1:40 a.m. local time. Okay, this is according to page 6. And at this time, so this was Monday at 1:40, when this story broke, she was still behind bars. And apparently officers had a warrant out for her arrest for a second-degree harassment charge. So, wow. Okay, so it's a lot. So yeah, on Sunday around 11 p.m. local time, she was driving her Mercedes in Charleston with someone named Brandon Clavin as a passenger. And then there was an illegal lane change, and she was pulled over at a Circle K gas station. She was ordered to step out of the vehicle and was handcuffed, at which point she allegedly requested that her purse come with her. Inside the purse, a small container with happy pills imprinted on the top was located, which contained 12 circular white pills with a P imprint on one side and half of an oblong blue pill with no identifiable imprints. Okay, so I guess those were the happy pills. I wonder what the P stands for. I feel like such a loser right now who I can't even think of it. Okay, so if anyone knows, let me know in the comments. So then on 8:45 on Sunday, she had posted a selfie on her Instagram, telling her followers she was getting ready to see the movie Marty Supreme. And then a few days after the arrest, she posted like bikini, sexy bikini pictures on her Instagram. And people were like, no, not now. And someone commented, now's not the time. And she wrote like, now's the time. So yeah, so not good. Not a bad mugshot, I gotta say. I mean, she looks pretty good in this mugshot. This is a good mugshot. Okay. They say she scowls. I don't know if I'd call it a scowl. I mean, she's kind of doing like duck face almost, but apparently this is not her first arrest She has had a charge before. The second degree harassment, I wonder what the details of that are. I'm sure we'll get more detail about what the harassment charges are. But I am seeing an update actually that the blue pills were Xanax, or at least that's what she told the police. She says that these were prescribed to her, and she claims the white pills were birth control. However, the officer said that she did not have any proof of these claims, and she didn't even know like what brand the birth control pills were. So, and they couldn't find like the original packaging. So, yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, again, that doesn't mean it's not Xanax or whatever, something that was prescribed necessarily, but it just, it doesn't look great, especially when you're driving and there's already a warrant out, I guess, for her arrest, which I didn't realize. Listen, I think if you are a Southern hospitality watcher and fan like myself, you are probably not shocked by this news because, Grace Lilly, I think she's been on a bit of a downward spiral. Okay. And again, when you can put that together just from seeing someone a little bit on TV and on their social media, that's usually a pretty bad sign. What I will say is that she, she has kind of stepped away from the show. Um, she's not filming the most recent season or didn't film it. And I remember seeing her co-stars, when asked about it, said she's dealing with some personal stuff. So there's that. And then there's also, some erratic behavior on the show. There's definitely been some times on the show where she's appeared to be intoxicated, I would say beyond alcohol. Again, that's just from my own opinion from watching. I don't have evidence of that. But there are times where she has seemed very off. So, it seems like the arrows are pointing in the direction of maybe there's a problem. And, I hope for the best for her and that she can get some help because she needs help. I mean, that's what it seems like. Again, help exactly for what? I don't know exactly what is, plaguing her. I don't know if it's an addiction or mental health stuff or what, but yeah, it's probably a good idea that she stepped away from reality TV. So, I mean, that doesn't happen that often with these, usually a lot of times we see it just unfold on camera, or the money or the fame kind of, adds to the problem or whatever. So at least she stepped away from that, but it doesn't look like she's getting help based on this arrest, and then also based on her posting on Instagram after. Okay, let's go to some Real Housewives of Atlanta news. And this is big news, okay? This is Nene Leakes possibly negotiating a return to Bravo. Page Six reports that she is in talks with the network about appearing in the Real Housewives Ultimate Road Trip, which is set to film in January 2026. So we heard at BravoCon that they're going to be doing this, with the Ultimate Girls Trip thing. Obviously the whole like Brandy, what's it called? Caroline Manzo thing sort of, it kind of ruined that franchise. It's sort of tainted. So I don't know if they thought adjusting this to Road Trip would make it more tolerable or would just make it seem like different enough that it doesn't have that kind of negative taint on it. But yeah, so apparently Nene is possibly going to be on this show, which would be amazing. And like, she's perfect for the housewives world. And we just need her back. We really do. I mean, I would like her back on Atlanta, but I understand that because of everything that's happened, that might be a slow burn to kind of get her back. It's not just going to like happen overnight. Maybe this is maybe this is kind of Bravo's way of like getting their toes wet, right? Just like try it out, see how it goes, see how she treats production, how she handles being back on camera and filming, if she's easy to work with. Like, It's all that stuff, right? And then if all goes well, then it's like, okay, let's see about a friend of on Atlanta. She's a friend of like Cynthia's. They've become friends again, right? So, you can kind of do that slow progression without just being full like a Nini's a full-time housewife, right? And I think that's probably smart on both ends, like for her and for them to, take it slow, like dating, take it slow. So she is apparently negotiating a return and is in talks with the network about appearing on it. And it's supposed to be filming like this month. So, like, I would hope that we're going to get confirmation soon about whether she's on the show or not. All we need is one person with a cell phone, one Bravo fan who catches them somewhere filming and takes a picture and sends it to whoever, a blog or whatever. That's all we need. Okay, everyone, have your phone cameras ready in case you see it. I don't know about you guys, but lately I'm finding it really difficult to find high quality clothing at a reasonable price point. And what drives me crazy is the amount of companies using polyester blends and then charging outrageous prices for them. And I just can't anymore. That's why I've started shopping at Quince. Quince has all the staples covered, from Mongolian cashmere sweaters to 100% silk for easy dressing up to perfectly cut denim. Their wardrobe essentials are crafted to last season after season. And like everything from Quince, each piece is made with premium materials in ethical factories and priced way below other luxury brands. I can't tell you how much I am loving the 100% yak wool crewneck sweater I got. It's so unbelievably soft, and you can see and feel the quality. It's something I'll wear forever, and it'll last forever. I already wear it all the time. It's holding up so well, no pilling, and it returns to its original shape and fit after hand washing. So refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/Bravo Papers for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Bravo Papers to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Bravo Papers. The new year is here, and Wayfair has everything you need to refresh, organize, and elevate your space for 2026. Personally, I need to do some major organizing and storage, especially after the holidays. We accumulate a lot after Christmas, especially the gifts and toys my daughter gets. So I'm definitely using Wayfair to help me find storage space for all that stuff. Wayfair has a huge selection of home decor items, as many people know, but I was surprised at how much organizational and storage stuff they have. I got these really great collapsible storage bins in a linen fabric. They look very chic and modern, but they're also really functional. And they had so many different colors and size options, like anyone could find one that would suit their home. And after all the money I spent over the holidays, it was really nice that I could easily search within my price range and budget using their price filter. So get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. In other Atlanta news, this is just a rumor, okay? Again, just a rumor. I don't have anything confirmed here, but according to the Neighborhood Talk, Real Housewives of Atlanta stars Portia Williams and Shamia Morton almost came to blows during their cast trip in Scotland, but apparently Drew broke it up. See, this is why I'm always a Drew fan. I love Drew. I don't care what anyone says. I've always loved Drew, as many of you know, who my longtime listeners know I love Drew. But yeah, so according to the Neighborhood Talk, they keep their ears to the streets, as they say. And apparently, specifically, Portia and Shamia are not getting along and having issues. And a source told them that during the cast trip in Scotland, they got into a heated argument, and it got to the point where the two almost put their hands on each other. But Drew stepped in the middle before everything got out of hand. So, see, good job, Drew. Would I be shocked at this? No, because Portia is known to do this. And again, I'm not trying to like say Shamia's like an innocent victim. I can't stand Shamia. I don't like Shamia. I went into last season like really giving her a chance and liking her, but I I take it all back. I can't stand her. I'm on Portia's side. But that being said, Portia does have a history of putting her hands on people, both on and off camera. So would I be shocked by this? No, I wouldn't be shocked at all. And I could see it getting to a heated point. I'm glad it was broken up because the last thing we need is to see Portia again putting her hands on someone on TV. Um, unless again, maybe it was instigated by from Shamia's end. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't really know enough about Shamia to know if she would take it that far or not. I really just don't know. So yeah, I guess we're gonna see. We're gonna see if this turns out to be true. It could be completely fictional. We're kind of trusting this sort of like word on the street from the neighborhood talk. So, take it with a grain of salt, as they always say. Either way, I'm excited for the new season. I am. I am very excited. Now, speaking of last season of Atlanta, Britt Edie is announcing her separation from her husband, Michael. I didn't think they were married that long. They're already separating. Wow. I mean, not that that can't happen. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I'm surprised, but like, I don't care because it's Britt. And I mean, her husband always gave me the creeps. He's just weird. But I don't like Britt either. It was like two dysfunctional people together. So like shocking that it didn't work out, right? But she says, I'm done hurting. I want to be happy in my next chapter. We're not creating a false narrative that I'm walking away because of false made up rumors. Are there rumors? Does anyone like care enough about this marriage and relationship to make up rumors? Like, I don't even know what she's talking about. So she said, it took me a while, but I finally realized what triggers my toxicity. I mean, I'm glad she's admitting that she's toxic. That's a step in the right direction. She says it's disrespect. I can be chill, fun, easy to get along with. I can vibe with anybody. Well, I don't know about that. But the second I feel disrespected, everything in me shifts. So she's still making excuses for threatening Kenya with a gun. Let's just be honest. My peace goes out the window, my patience disappears, and that version of me turns sharp real quick. I'm self-aware enough to know I'm a good woman, I'm kind, I'm genuine, I'm understanding, and I always try to lead with love. But that's exactly why disrespect hits so deep, because I know how much grace I give before I ever lose it. When I snap, it's never random, it's a reaction. What you put in is what you get out of me. Still, I'm learning not to let people pull me out of character. See, it doesn't sound like it because the first half of this paragraph is you blaming everyone else. So it's like every time that I'm out of character and I'm a bad person and I'm toxic, it's because of you guys, because you guys trigger me. You guys are disrespectful. So that's why I snap. Like there's no her taking accountability, right? It's up to you to not react. There will always be triggers. There will always be difficult people. You will always have disagreements and arguments with people. That's life. Like it's up to you to control yourself. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Learning that peace is better than proving a point. Okay, so I guess a little bit of self-growth here. I don't know, because growth isn't about never being triggered. Okay, at least she knows that. Or at least seemingly. It's about recognizing what triggers you and protecting yourself before you get there. Know your triggers. Guard your peace, stay away from the people, places, and situations that force you to become someone you've worked hard to outgrow. So I'm assuming she's saying that her husband triggers her and disrespects her. Which, you could just say that. But yeah, so I guess they're splitting up, and I guess we won't be seeing it because she wasn't on the show. And again, you know, I think she made such a mistake by not like I just think the way that she handled the situation, like what Kenya did was wrong, of course. But I do think that she could have had a second season and a little bit of a better arc, even especially with this divorce even. And I think not showing up to the reunion though and all that was a huge mistake. And I really think she's probably regretting that right now. Again, I have no evidence of that. I just think she is. Okay, let's talk about Salt Lake City. So Heather Gay was on Sheena's podcast Shenanigans because why not? Let's have the two most obnoxious, thirstiest housewives or Bravo celebrities together on a show. Um, so Heather was asked if she thinks she will reconnect with Jen Shaw. She says, I think that chapter is closed for both of us. And Andy said she's not coming back. Salt Lake is small, but we've been able to avoid people in Salt Lake that we haven't wanted to see. So I don't think we'll cross paths. But of course, see, of course, it's not because, oh, well, she lied to me and she victimized countless innocent people and she's punched me in the face. It's, well, Andy doesn't want her back on the show. So why would I be friends with her? Okay. It's good to see where your morals lie. Like for her, it's all about like if she was coming back on the show, Heather would be like friends with her again. I honestly believe that Heather would be friends with her again, like no problem. I don't even think it would be hard for her. But meanwhile, if Monica wants to come back, it's like, oh, nope. She maybe was part of a secret blog thing that I also gave information. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to get into that right now. But speaking of Monica, she did a TikTok, which not surprising because she does those a lot. She's so like I don't even mind Monica, and I actually would like her back on the show, but her social media is so annoying. She's really one of those people that's really annoying on social media. But anyways, this was actually a good one though. So she did a TikTok or a reel, whatever. And she said, when everyone wants, this was after the latest episode of Salt Lake City, where there's talk about Meredith is upset because she's being accused of alcoholism or whatever. So Monica says, when everyone wants to accuse Meredith of being an alcoholic, but she wasn't the one that was taken away in an ambulance to the ER for alcohol poisoning and demanded the footage never be shown and cast stay locked in their rooms while she got wheeled away to get her stomach pumped, quote unquote, allegedly. And then she also wrote hashtag not, who would she write? Oh yeah, hashtag not Whitney. Okay. Because, yeah, I think a lot of people, my initial assumption before I saw the hashtag was Whitney because of BravoCon, because Whitney was like overly trashed at BravoCon. But my second guess, okay, so since she's saying not Whitney, my guess is Heather. We saw Heather in that Sprinter van, peeing herself or whatever. Like that was pretty extreme. Like in terms of like we've seen housewives vomit. We've seen, but when you're getting to the point of like having an accident like that, that's pretty bad. And I felt like on the yacht trip this season, like I thought Heather was like pretty fucked up, like that whole yacht trip. And I know I'm not the only one. Like she seemed pretty hammered to me. Okay. Like it was funny to me that like Meredith is, and I'm not saying Meredith has also seemed messed up many times, but Heather just as much, who got so drunk that she like, I don't know, like I do think alcohol led to the altercation with Jen Shaw and getting punched in the face. Like it's just like it is really just like, and I know it's more like Whitney who's leading the charge of the whole like alcoholism thing with Meredith, but Heather's right there with her. Like it's just, and it is so hypocritical. It is so hypocritical to be like on a cast where you are drinking all the time and then being like coming at someone else about it. It just is, especially when you've been on TV, like pissing yourself. Like, let's just be real. Okay. So yeah, I'm kind of glad Monica called her out because I'm really getting sick of Heather's like holier than thou, better than everybody else, standing on her pedestal to judge everyone. Like it's very, I don't know. It's like that piece of her past is still there where she kind of thinks she's like above people. I don't know who made her like the queen of the world when it comes to Salt Lake City, but she seems to, I don't know, have some kind of impression that she is. Okay. Now, meanwhile, in regards to that, well, Meredith, at least the Meredith aspect, she was on Watch What Happens Live. And, the announcement, and I did cover this in my last episode, even though that was a long time ago. She was asked about Bronwyn and Todd splitting up. Meredith says she's not going to be commenting on it because last time she tried to be supportive and comment on Bronwyn's marriage, when Bronwyn confided in them and asked for advice or whatever, it was turned against her and turned into something as a negative. And I'm going to be honest, I agree with her because, no, like I understood why people were annoyed at Lisa and Meredith because it did sound like they were taking Todd's side. But they were, and I stand by this, if you go back to the context of the scene and what Bronwyn said, they were growing off of what Bronwyn said. Bronwyn was saying, I see Todd's side of it. He has a point. Like she was saying those. So they were like, okay, she obviously wants to stay in this marriage. So, okay, here's how you can meet him halfway. Like I did not take it as them blaming Bronwyn and saying it's her fault he cheated, like which a lot of people did. And I thought that was a misinterpretation. And in my opinion, you can disagree, it's fine. I also think that there is something to say for when your friend is married, okay? And if you are a grown adult with friends who are married with kids and living in the real world, not the internet world, people stay in bad marriages. People stay with bad partners. And although it might sound nice to be like, leave him, girlfriend, he's a pig, and da da da, and that's how we all want to front online, in reality, sometimes your friends are not in the best relationships, but they're your friend and you know they're not going to leave, at least not at this point. They're not ready to. And you have to just be a listening ear and kind of meet them where they're at. And sometimes just yelling at them to leave their guy, it actually pushes them towards the guy even more and pushes them away from you, because then they're like, oh, well, you hate my husband. And then you become the bad guy. I'm sorry, but that does happen. That is a thing. Okay. And sometimes you just stand by your friend until they're ready to get help. Okay. Until they're ready to leave. Okay. And I'm talking about cases where, I'm not talking about like domestic violence and I'm extreme stuff like that. Okay. I'm just talking about like a shitty boyfriend or whatever. Right. So yeah, I do think that Meredith and Lisa thought they were meeting Bronwyn kind of where she was at in that moment. And I did think it was shady of Bronwyn to kind of throw it in their face later. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, I got way off topic there. So I understand why Meredith's not commenting, to make a long story short. Now, speaking of marriages and stuff like that, people are suspecting that maybe Angie and her husband are on the rocks, or going to be headed to Splitsville or something like that. Her husband, Sean, because he follows some accounts that are kind of like some accounts on Instagram that are like divorce accounts. I saw this on Reddit and people talking about it. Yeah, like some of the accounts are like, I can't remember what one of them was called, the main one. It was like divorce something, and however, I did notice so there was this headline because then it got posted on a Bravo page, but there was this headline. What did it say? It said on Reality Blurb, RHOSLC star Angie and her husband, spark divorce rumors, find out why fans suspect they may be headed for split. And then there was a lot of commenters who said that they're not getting a divorce, not even close, but they also follow that account because it gives just like relationship marriage advice. So then I was like, oh, okay, maybe, maybe it's not like, because when I saw that, I too was a little bit like, oh, okay, is he like, I don't know, is he going to be filing for divorce? Is maybe the relationship isn't going well? And again, that stuff could all be true. Time will tell. And if they do end up splitting, I'm sure we're going to hear about it, of course. But again, it's not like evidence of that. And Sean has actually reacted and responded to the rumors. And he says that it has nothing to do with Angie. So it's like I should say these are like the accounts are like divorce coaches, I guess, some of them. But he says it has nothing to do with Angie. They're not getting divorced and basically everything's fine. um, and he says he feels compelled to defend who he's following on social media. And he says, I simply have someone close to me going through a rough time. This person sends me pages with thoughts and info on what they are going through. It's as simple as that. Nothing more, nothing less. I understand we're in the public eye. Okay. Well, that's good that he understands that because, I mean, here's the thing. When there's kind of a slow, and I know it doesn't seem like there's a slow Bravo News time because of all the news I'm giving you two parts here, but that's just because I've let like 3 weeks add up. But in reality, it is kind of like we don't have like a big, huge thing going on right now, like a Scandival or Wendy getting arrested, and like we don't have a breaking story like that. So it is kind of a slow news time. So this is the time where you get people like, all right, let me see who this person's following. Let me see what this is like is. Let me see, like, people start to read into things because, they just need content. So yeah. So I think that's kind of why Sean's stuff might be getting looked at this point. But yeah, he denies it. Again, him denying it doesn't mean it's not true because of course he would deny it because they would until they're ready to announce it. But the point is, we don't know. Okay, what's our next story? Let's talk about Married to Medicine because, oh my God, I'm really enjoying Married to Medicine this season. Now, there was this scene on the most recent episode. Oh my God. With Simone and her son and husband, where basically they get into it. Well, Dr. Simone gets into it with her son because he, quite frankly, is being acting like a spoiled entitled brat, saying that he wants a new car, even though there's nothing wrong with his car, just because it's not like cool anymore. And that he is basically expecting his mother to buy him a car, pay his way through law school, and he wouldn't work or take out loans or do anything, basically. And he kind of makes the argument that, because she can, she should, right? Whereas she's like, well, if I do this for you, it is pushing retirement further and further away. And basically, like, I'm tired, I'm getting older, like I need, he doesn't, her son seemingly doesn't seem to care about that. Anyways, I'm not going to go through the whole scene, but obviously it caused a lot of chatter online. Like this was a scene that everybody was talking about. And, I was reading tweets and stuff about it. And, I felt for her in that moment. Because, her husband kind of takes the son's side and this is something that we've seen on Married to Medicine over the years. It does kind of seem like her boys and her husband sort of, go against her. And it's like, she wants her husband to like take her side, and stay strong with her when the kids are being whatever, entitled, whatever. And he doesn't. And so she does kind of blow up because, I mean, what woman wouldn't in that situation? I definitely would. But yeah, so a lot of people talking about that. Now, Cecil took to social media to make a comment about everyone's reactions. And here's what he said. He said, let me say this. We have been on reality TV for 12 years, so it is fair for everyone to have an opinion. But trust me, you don't have 5% of the whole story with a 6-minute segment for each of the ladies each week. And based on the comments about me and my sons, it's clear you're missing a great deal of info. Now carry on. Remember one thing, just because I don't talk about what I have or spend my money on clothes and cars, that my bank account. So I guess because a lot of people are like, what does Cecil do? Like, he seems like he just sits at home and lives off of Simone, and then her sons are kind of learning from that too, etc. Now, listen, I don't doubt that Cecil, like, it does seem like he's had a career and success and has made money and all that kind of stuff. Fine. Okay. But that being said, that's not really like, he's not really addressing the issue that everybody is pointing out. And although that was a short scene, it was still a scene where you didn't take your wife's side, which we have seen more than once on the show. So, yeah, like I do think it's fair for people to call you out on that. Um, yeah, so Simone was on Watch What Happens Live, and she said, of course, what triggered her was Cecil taking her son's side always, and it's like, it's like good cop, bad cop, and she's always the bad cop, right? So she also said that her son on Watch What Happens Live, she said her son is going to law school in the fall of 2026, but refuses to sit down to discuss a budget at this point. And by the way, she called him entitled again during this interview, and he was right there. He was sitting in the front row. But listen, he deserves it. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't love his attitude in the audience of Watch What Happens Live. Like Andy was asking him, like Andy was kind of like, did you regret what you said? Like right when you said it, like all this kind of stuff. And he just seems so like, whatever. And don't get me wrong. Okay. Boys, men his age, especially, they can be difficult. That is an age where the ego is big, and there's there's a lot of I know it all and my opinion is right, but it doesn't make an excuse for like the entitlement is rampant, okay? And I want to take Simone's side, as we all do, and defend her on this, but after all of that, as has been reported, apparently she not only bought him a Tesla, so she bought him the car he wanted since his Jeep wasn't cool anymore, but she took both of her sons and their girlfriends to Jamaica for a trip. So I guess yeah, she's, as many say in the comments, all talk. And I mean, that's the problem, right? It's like, and it's easy to say, I will say as a parent, it is easy to say, like, just lay the hammer down, just stop giving your kids money, just stop. Like, it is easier said than done. That is one of the things that makes parenting hard, is because you do have unconditional love. And sometimes it's hard to see past that and do the hard thing. But I mean, unfortunately, she's created a monster and she's going to have to deal with that monster now. So that's that. Okay. All right. Let's go to our last show that we're going to be covering today, which is Southern Charm. Oh, yeah. Southern Charm. And then I think I just have a little overview of kind of what's coming in terms of content and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So Craig has been doing some media. He was on Watch What Happens Live, and he was asked about Austin and how Austin changed since his breakup with Audrey. Craig says that he's happier and lighter since breaking up with Audrey, which obviously, because that man never wanted to be in a relationship. Okay. He wasn't dating Audrey because he was really in love with her or anything like that. He was dating her to rehab his image. Okay. He had a really bad few seasons between Summer House and how he was with the whole like Lindsay Sierra thing, and then how he was on the show, on his own show. He needed an image rehab. They all saw, him and Shep saw what it did for Craig and Paige. And, I think they kind of were trying to do that too. But listen, it's not happening. Because clearly, like, instead, you're in a relationship and the cheating rumors are already flying. So there you go. So Craig says he, in terms of him drinking on the show, which I think many of us have questions about, myself included, because it's very confusing. Well, it's not actually that confusing. I don't think he ever really was like sober. I think he got clean from drug use, it seems. But I don't know if alcohol was really like the quote unquote addiction he was dealing with, which it might also be an addiction that he needs to deal with, but I don't think it's the one that he did deal with from before, I guess. So he says he basically, he was saving his weekly drink limit all for one night. So that's what we saw on that last episode, and that he was having fun. Okay. I Okay, so if you have a limit, just say your limit is like one drink a week. Okay, so that's 7 drinks. So you don't drink the whole week and then you're going to drink all 7 in one night. And then you're going to blow up and act like an asshole and yell at people or whatever. I don't think that's like a good solution to your alcohol issue, whether it's alcoholism or whatever it is, or drinking problem or whatever. It's really not a good solution. Or if you just, I feel like he quit like Coke, probably, and Adderall or something, and he just doesn't, he doesn't seem to want to admit to that. And it seems like that was kind of what and this is why, like, just be fully honest and say, I quit that, but I never really stopped drinking. Like, cause he didn't. We saw him drinking last season. He was literally crying about becoming an alcoholic while he was drunk on champagne on the beach with Austin. Like, it's just nothing makes sense. Okay. Anyways, and I do think a lot of it was like, I think he was just quitting probably to please Paige because she didn't like how he acted when he was drunk or high on camera. So he just stopped doing it because that's what she wanted, because she was very image conscious. So, I think now that he's not with her, he's going to go back to being less image conscious. um, so then he was also on Dorinda's radio show on Radio Andy. And he says that he doesn't see Sally as anything more than a friend or a sister. Ouch. I mean, listen, ouch, but like good for Sally, because this could only go down a bad road, which I'm sure we're going to be watching on Southern Charm this season. And it's already started. Dorinda, though, then Dorinda spills the more interesting tea during this interview. And she says that Sally was not friendly at BravoCon to her. She says she had her sunglasses on, like indoors and on the bus and stuff, and seemed more concerned with her look and taking pictures than socializing with people, and that she wasn't friendly with others in general. Now, that being said, that's Dorinda's opinion, and Dorinda is, I don't know, maybe a little intimidating. I don't know. Maybe it's her first BravoCon. And listen, I think there's some truth to it, because Sally does seem very into appearances, and she's just very like the stereotypical girl in her 20s. I don't even know if she's in her 20s, but whatever. She's very like into appearances, seems very man-centered. Her whole focus is like getting married, and like, she's that kind of stereotype. And again, not that there's anything wrong with if that's what people want, if that's what you want. That was something I wanted when I was her age, whatever. But like, it is kind of sometimes can make you short-sighted. Like, I'm so obsessed with like my Instagram and my image that I'm not making like connections that I should be probably making. And I'm not like networking, and which, sorry, but that is kind of what you should be doing. If we're going to be honest, that's the smart thing to do. Meanwhile, Vanita did an interview where she got pretty emotional, and emotional because she was talking about how she was on virtual reality. Sorry, I should say that first. And she was saying like she felt like Craig was trying to push her off of the show, and basically that the show is like income, exposure, connections, all the stuff I just said. And that, him kind of trying to shut her out was very hurtful, because it would kind of be like, excluding her from opportunities and getting in the way of her livelihood and all that kind of stuff. And she starts to cry. Now, listen, I don't doubt that Craig was, that Craig giving her the cold shoulder could impact her place on the show, right? Because if you stop having like friends in the group and you stop having connections, then yeah, you could definitely lose your place on the show. But that being said, as some people have pointed out, he did still invite her like to his party. She was still included at Madison. Like, I didn't really see like what she was iced out of, unless behind the scenes, he was like, I'm not inviting her. And production was like, you have to invite her. Or production was like, it looks, you know, because Craig is more image conscious now. So I could see production or his publicist or whoever being like, listen, you're going to look like a dick if you leave this one person out. And that gives them like a victim storyline. So you better invite her. So maybe he was like initially not wanting to, and she knew about that because, you know, production's messy. They're going to go tell, right? And then he invited her, you know, for kind of image sake. But, you know, she was probably feeling pretty shaken because she was like, damn, like if this guy had his way, he could have me off the show. Right. You know, and I can understand people who are like, well, it's her own fault because she should have just not commented on the relationship. It's not your relationship. Don't comment on it, you know, especially against the person who's in your friend group on the show that you want to be on, which I do get that. But, you know, that being said, I do think that they are all allowed to give their opinions in media interviews, and then they should be able to argue about it in an inclusive way on the show, which is, you know, not having someone try to like ice you out and get you fired. But again, I don't know if that's what happened. That is what Vanita's saying is happened, but it is hard to reconcile that because on the show I am seeing her being invited to stuff. But that being said, it's still early in the season, so we'll see how things unfold. Um, Now, Vanita also posted about the episode of Southern Charm with what she had revealed about Molly and her plastic surgery because people were like, what the hell? Why would you talk about that? So, this is what she said. She said, hi, I wanted to take a moment and talk about last night's episode. So, this was the most recent episode. Again, we haven't had an episode in a couple weeks. I made a careless comment about Molly. No matter the context, the comment was not my place to share. I understand that. I did apologize right away, and if that apology came across as too casual, I think it was because I didn't want to draw more attention to a situation where she may have already felt uncomfortable or exposed. I've apologized to Molly privately since then and will continue to take responsibility for that moment and for what followed. I said something in a conversation with a friend. The something said turned into something which made another woman feel embarrassed or uncomfortable. That was never my intention, but I also know that intention does not erase the impact. Molly deserved better in that moment. I'm thankful for the grace that Molly gave me. I also want to be clear about this. Another woman's body shouldn't be gossip. Another woman's body is not a joke. Another woman's body is not for judgment ever. I'm owning my mistake and learning from it. I hope that you will all too. I think that's a good statement. Listen, I think it was messed up of Vanita. I think it was messed up of, I can't really remember the context and the degree to which Sally comment because it was so long ago. I need to rewatch this episode. I think it was messed up for both of them. And obviously Vanita for initially sharing this when she shouldn't have. And I understood why Molly was hurt by that. And especially because it's like her private part. So that kind of makes it like even more icky to be like using as gossip. But I do think that this is a good apology. It's sincere. You know, it kind of addresses the problem. I think she doesn't make excuses. And Molly said, hey, Vanita and Molly, hope Vanita, or sorry, not the, sorry, Molly didn't say this. At Brands by Bravo posted, hope Vanita and Molly are in a good place. And then Molly responded and said, we are. She has apologized multiple times and continues to show remorse. I also received a beautiful bouquet of flowers from her yesterday. Okay, good. Glad to see they're in a good place because, you know, uh, I don't think it was like malicious. Again, like she says, the intent doesn't matter. You still did it. But, you know, I do think that the apology was sincere. And I think Molly can see that. All right. Last piece of news from Southern Charm is that Naomi is engaged. Okay. So Naomi is engaged to her longtime boyfriend and Brooks Nader's ex-husband, Billy Hare. And I actually saw Craig talking about this on Watch What Happens Live as well. And he said that he's heard like great things about this guy, Billy, and that he's like a great guy and he's only heard good things. So he's really happy for Naomi and good for her. She looks really happy. I like the engagement. It's really cute and like low key. It's like in the park, leggings, you know, running shoes, very casual. I think it's cute. And then, they were asking, Andy was asking about maybe Craig should go on a date with Brooks Nader. And, he was like, obviously, because Brooks Nader is gorgeous. But then when she was on Watch What Happens Live after that, and Andy was like, would you ever consider dating him? And she was like, I don't know who he is. And then Andy was laughing like it was shade. I don't even think it was shade. Like, you could tell she legit was like, I do not know who this man is. So yeah, she can do better if I'm going to be honest. Okay. So what else do we have? I think that's it, but let's just take a look at what we have to look forward to in 2026, because 2026 has already been off to a rough start, which we don't love, but we have Traitors new season on January 8th. We have The Valley Persian Style, also January 8th. We have allegedly Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is starting in late January, but that's alleged, so I don't know for sure. Summer House season 10 is February 3rd. So yeah, we have a lot of good stuff to look forward to. So, a lot of things to take your brain away from the misery of the world, which I think we all need, and to, enjoy and have some good entertainment. So we look forward to all that in 2026. And I hope you had a healthier holidays than I had. I hope and I wish for you all, a safe, healthy, happy New Year's. Wishing you guys all the best in 2026. I want to thank you again for a great year with the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for patience when I'm late and all that kind of stuff. And I hope that you'll stay with me through another year of Bravo gossip in 2026. Until next time, you are now in the know for everything Bravo. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Your support really means everything to me, and this show wouldn't be possible without you, the listeners. So please, if you enjoy the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/BravoandBotox. And for $5 a month, you'll get 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You'll also get early releases of Bravo Paper episodes and more. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Bravo Papers and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Bravo and Botox and at The Bravo Papers. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can at buymeacoffee.com/Bravo and Botox. Send your love through some much needed caffeine. And any guest that was on today's episode will be in the show notes, all their social media and contact information. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep overanalyzing Bravo.